I would like to invite my colleague Anil on stage. Hi, Anil. Thanks a lot.
Hi, Julia. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, and good morning, good afternoon, evening to everyone who is here with us today. So I will be sharing my screen, and we'll be jumping to the Dataspace Protocol. So I hope everybody can see my screen and slide.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome.
I see some noise in the background. I will try to unmute.
It's Monday.
Any other speakers? Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I would like to introduce the Dataspace Protocol and what it is, and it's great that we have BootX today here with us to provide more inputs on that. But first of all, there was a need for the Dataspace Protocol, and the main reason why we need that is that we are, like in the first years of the internet, we are in a fragmented structure now. So we have some groups who are experimenting with the Dataspace instance, and the other one in another part of the world, and everybody has their own rules, their own code of conduct, their own behavior style, you know, how they handle the data, how they handle the contracts and stuff like that. And we need a universal and standardized way for that. So this is the main motivation that lies behind the Dataspace Protocol. And the project started and has a structure, a very stable version now, which is being experimented by many parties and many projects and many companies. So we are trying to find the way, the universal way to define how the data exchange should happen and which party, whether they are consumer or provider, should act like what at which stage of the data exchange. So for those who are deep into IDS standard, so we are also approaching things from this European interoperability framework perspective, like the interoperability has 4 layers: the legal, organizational, semantic, and technical ones. And to some extent, Dataspace Protocol contributes to some of these layers. So mainly the technical one and partly the semantic one. And I think it's also possible to say that it's also contributing to the organizational interoperability somehow, as it dictates the parties of a data exchange on how to behave in which stage of the data exchange. So, and as you know, we are promoting this inter-data space interoperability approach. So basically a data space instance, whatever sector it is from, should be able to communicate seamlessly with other data space instances, whether they are from the same or different industries. So the Dataspace Protocol is consisting of the main 3 pillars. First one is catalog protocol, then the contract negotiation protocol, and then transfer process protocol. So this is actually like real life, like any shopping experience that you are making on your daily life. So first you go and check a catalog. When you are ordering a food from a restaurant, or when you are going for clothes shopping. So first you check what is available to you. And the seller, I mean, the data provider here, is the one who is managing the catalog, who is designing, who is showing what's available. And then you make a negotiation. So in real life, you don't make it that much because the prices are already set and the conditions as well. But for the data exchange, which is quite major for the global population currently, according to the state of the art, we need some kind of negotiation process approaches. So people should be able to understand how to behave during the contract negotiation process. And then there's the transfer process protocol, which is about how the data will be transmitted between these parties. So basically, we have an example here in the slide. So as you can see here, so this is about a use case about the public transportation authority deciding to share its transit schedules with app developers who can create some more additional value out of the available data. And how the Dataspace protocol is actually contributing to the problem is that we have problems in all 3 pillars, actually, in all around the world. So first, people really have problems with inconsistent data formats, or in the contract negotiation phase, there is a need for clear terms about how the data will be distributed, will be used, and also shouldn't be abused. And there's also the transfer process protocol, which is about ensuring the secure and efficient and reliable transfer of data. So basically, in Dataspace Protocol, you have the specifications that are needed to define the catalog of available data sets, and then during the contract negotiation phase, you are able to set what are the contract terms, what will be enforced to the consumer of the data, and to what extent it will be permitted to share the data, and how it will be used, and if there are any prohibitions. And in the transfer process protocol, you are adding the specifications about what kind of transfer methodology will be used, and is there any authentication technology that will be used, and all this stuff. So all this documentation is openly available, as you know, and there are many contributors from many organizations that are currently using it. Actually, you can see more information in the data connector report. That you can see which connectors are using it, which connectors are using it for the communication protocol, and there are also several R&D projects adopting the Dataspace protocol that are experimenting with it. So, as I said, it's in a stable version, but we need more and more people who will be using it, more and more initiatives who will be using it and applying it to the real life scenarios of data sharing, because this is something that we really have strong feelings about, and but we need contributors from all around so that we can really tell everyone how to behave during the data exchange. And we need that. I mean, on a global scale, we need that, definitely. This is something that we see almost every single day. That's why we have all this communications and problems, and people mentioning a lot of problems about interoperability, right? So what you can do with it, so you can become a co-creator. So we have a repository where all the experiments are running on. All the specification is being made, and there is also a test compliance kit that's under development at the moment. And so this is basically to ensure a project's compliance level with the Dataspace protocol, so how compliant you are with the Dataspace protocol. So this is under development currently, but that's also something that you can hopefully use in the near future. So currently, it's being documented by IDSA, and the group is also committing it to the project under Eclipse Database Working Group, and there is a specification project that's running currently, and the ultimate aim is, as you can see on the right-hand side, to commit it to the ISO ISC JTC1 SC38. So that's already a road that is paved, and we are just looking forward to the results of that. So as I said, the initial motivation was to make this the universal standard for data sharing, the universal protocol for data sharing. So we have some steps to take on that end. So as I mentioned before, we need more people, more organizations, more initiatives to experiment with the Dataspace protocol. So you are more than welcome to join and take it to the next level. So thank you very much. I think that part concludes my presentation here. I can give it back to you, Julia.
Great. Thanks a lot, Anil. Let me share my screen again. I see that our next presenters are already with their cameras open. I would like to officially invite on stage Jarek Kowalski from Huawei and Roi Rodriguez. Thanks a lot for being here today. Really looking forward to your presentation and your insights in these very interesting projects. Would you mind sharing your own screen?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Jarek Kowalski, and I'm here with Roi Rodriguez, my colleagues. We both work for Standardization and Industry Development Department at Huawei European Research Institute. And today we would like to give you some overview of, let's say, how Huawei is committed to data spaces and to the and what we do in this field. So you most likely know the brand of Huawei. We are the big company with over 200,000 employees worldwide, of which 114,000 people work in R&D departments or in related work in to R&D. So Huawei is a very, very innovative company and number 4 globally in terms of the investments in R&D. Most of people know Huawei from the telecommunication industry, but Huawei is much more than telecom. We are delivering devices. We are very active participant in the automotive sector, connectivity, computing, cloud, digital power. For this call, for today's meeting, the most important departments at Huawei related to data spaces is cloud and computing. And Huawei is number 2 cloud provider in China and one of the top 10 cloud providers worldwide. With IDSA, we are committed to our association since almost 8 years. We joined as a 50th member of IDSA in 2016 when IDSA was established. And we are also the first Chinese company that has registered and is presenting the data space solution in IDSA data spaces radar, as well as the data space connector report. Butex, which Roi will deliver the presentation after me. Butex is listed as one of the connectors in the IDSA paper. With IDSA, we also deliver very successful events since 2023. During the MWC in Barcelona, we talk about data spaces on a global level, right? So this year, we have been hosting over 14 speakers from different parts of the world. There was 40 on-site attendees and over 100 online attendees. And the main focus for our events are on the real use cases, deployments, as well as the standardization on a global level. Because although data spaces are coming, let's say the concept of data spaces is coming from Europe, but we believe that data spaces is a right solution to support digital or data-based economy on a global level. Also with IDSA, we are engaged in the IDSA Task Force China that has been established this year, working with the research lab, IDS Research Lab in China and China Competence Center of IDSA. We are supporting the standardization initiative. Anil just mentioned that Dataspace Protocol is going to be submitted to ISO/IEC for certification and standardization, but we are also engaged in the work of Sensenelec and also in the IDSA working group. And Sonia will be talking about the certification, but we also started certifying our components, data space components, together with SQS. And as you know, the the data economy or global is a global thing, right? So that's why we are committed to data spaces. We implemented IDS RAM earlier versions in our solution that we provide to customers in China. It is called Exchange Data Service. But we also created a real prototype of data space in Europe, which is called Butex, and Roy will be talking about Butex later today. But we believe that for the supply chain and to comply with all the regulations, all the recent policies at the global level, but also at European level, we need to find a way how to connect customers and how to find the best way to exchange or to share data, actually, according to the local regulations, according to the local policies. That's why we are open for cooperation with any interested customers, because we all know that the supply chain is a global thing. Data spaces is a global thing. So that's why we are very much interested in connecting customers around the globe. And Butex is one of the proposition that we would like to give you here to help find the ways how to do this cross-border data exchange. And with that, I would like to give the floor to Roy. And Roy, I will be changing the slides for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jarek. So yeah, as Jarek said, in this context, we realized that it was key to create a real implementation of a data space, to test it and start to play with it and so on. And it's where we develop Butex. Next. Butex is a GaiaX IDSA compliance-ready cloud-based data space implementation. It has been developed in collaboration with Fraunhofer ISST, that is, as you know, one of the leading organizations in the whole data space initiative, and also with XLab, sorry. Butex is part of a global project in Huawei, the IDS, the Exchange Data Space, which main focus is developing data exchange between Chinese and European industry following the international standards and so on. And Butex, in fact, is compatible with Eclipse Data Space Connector and with enhanced features. Next. Why Butex? Well, we decided to create Butex in the context in which the European Union is or was driving the data economy together with the industry. We started to work on it in 2022, and for us it was key to develop it following the standards and architecture and requirements in GaiaX and IDSA, and also very important to address a real problem. That's why we wanted to address the problem that the companies have to commit or to the Supply Chain Act, that this is a new act that entered into force in January 2023. And the goals in Butex, we wanted to drive the industry adoption, okay? And for this, for us, it was important to provide easy to use GaiaX and IDSA compliant testbed for prototyping, also to make it easy for the companies to onboard here. That's why we use open source and industry standards, and also demonstrate the power of data spaces in a practical use case. And also to position Huawei as a global trustworthy cloud service provider, contributing both to the open source and data spaces ecosystem. Next slide. Here in this diagram, you can see a simplification of the automotive supply chain. Where on the right side, you can see the car store. The right side, you can see the car store on the chain before the car factory, the seat factory, and the providers for the seat factory. So this is a simplification of the of this supply chain. And in the automotive sector and also in other sectors, it is important to know that the data sharing or the communications usually are only one step down, one step up and one step down. So the car factory usually communicates with the seat factory and the car store, but not with the providers of the different components for the seat factory. Here you can see 3 levels. On the top level are including the declaration of principles, different documents that can be digital or scanned documents provided by each of the chains or in each of the steps of the supply chain. In the middle, you can see the representation of the supply chain, and on the top, the digital twin or the representation of the data space. That here, for example, on the car store, they could retrieve the information from all the different chains, all the different levels before, for example, to confirm that the car has been manufactured following the standards or the international standards. On the next slide, just to show that here the data space is a distributed system of participants, that the trust is established on one side on the principle, on the need to know principle, but also on the signature built up in the chain. Important to say also that the files, of course, are stored locally in each of the levels of the chain, and that the visibility, as said before, follows the one up, one down principle. In the next slide, we can see the software components for each of the main blocks. For the identity and trust, we are using Keycloak. For the sovereign data exchange, Eclipse Data Connector. The federated catalog is the one associated with this one, and the compliance is done with ELK stack. And as you can see, for each of the actors involved, we deploy the connector, and the communication is done following the Dataspace protocol through those. In the following slide, we can see the architecture. As you can see, we have the portal, the application, and the stack. And Butex is basically a portal for users as a landing page where users can either create a new dataspace environment or join an existing dataspace. When joining a dataspace, the users get a pre-configured set of components that is highly scalable through leveraging cloud-native technologies. It uses Eclipse Data Connector framework, and it is also possible to add extensions for Huawei Cloud on top of the existing ones from other cloud providers. And it is also possible to add as much applications on the top of the stack. So as you can see, this is easy to deploy and very flexible. Just on the next slide, I just wanted to share with you that we have already connected Butex with the Dataspace Protocol 2024-1 that is in place since January. We have already implemented the data plane for data exchange and the control plane. And in terms of operability, as shared before by Anil, out of the 4 layers included, we have already solved the technical part. This is already solved. And for the other 3 layers, the semantic, legal, and organizational, we will work on them based on the different pilots that we are developing on Butex. And let me share with you the one pilot that we are now working on. This is the Butex Dataspace pilot to enhance smart cities via collaborative utilities data integration. Basically, here This is a pilot that actually involves four players, which main role is the one presented there. On one side, we have Tecnalia, which main role is to be the Dataspace Authority. Tecnalia is the biggest private research center in Spain. Then we have Incolan, which main role is to be the data provider. Incolan is a company that is providing digital information of utilities platform. Incolan has actually a working business model where they are sharing and selling data of water, energy, or telco networks to municipalities and private companies, and they want to test data space technologies. In fact, they are the promoters of this pilot. This pilot started with them. Then, of course, Huawei is there, where we are the data space operator that we provide the data space service in the cloud. And finally, we have one municipality, in this case, the biggest municipality in Spain, the municipality of Madrid, that is the data consumer. So in the next slide, here what we want is the goal for us is to create a data space to share data, ensuring secure and trusted data sharing mechanism, and keeping control and data ownership. This is one of the key factors for testing this technology for the promoter, for Incolan. They want to keep the control and the data ownership, and they think that data spaces technologies or they consider that data spaces technologies will help them to do so. Also, as part of this pilot, we will apply AI for the utility networks construction prediction, and we will share the data and create the roles for the different participants. Of course, the Dataspace Authority will rule all the participants, the operator will run them all, the provider will feed and enrich the ecosystem, and the data consumer can grow and create new products and services based on it. In the next slide, if you play the video, Jarek, here we can see an idea of what is Incolan. Incolan is a company that provides digital information about the network, that is about different networks, water, telco, energy, and so on, that is working with the main players in Spain on those areas. In Incolan, they also have in their platform more than 1,000 municipalities, more than 90,000 clients. They receive around 50,000 inquiries per year, and in this platform are included more than 1 million kilometers of network. In the next slide, we can see in another video a bit how if you can play the video, we can see how the product or the platform of Incolan works. You can do a search on a neighborhood or on a street in a specific location. Once you do the search, you can see the different works that are included there, and you can see the status of each of the works. For example, here we can see that in this specific location there are actually 3 works, and we can see the status of each of them. We can go to the next slide, and where we can see we can go to the next slide, where you can see the applied AI use cases for utility networks construction, works prediction. Here we have included a first one that to identify the urban context and relevant infrastructure in the local reported location area. So we can see the work done there and the infrastructure in this specific area. And we have considered for this a couple of use cases. The first one on the potential affections by actions of third parties, for example, a power cut, the communication nodes, and so on. And a second use case there on the effects on citizens and commerce due to works on a specific street, public roads, and so on. and also a second point on an algorithm to measure the probability that a work for singing in Golang will be finished, and also the estimation of the time frame when this work will be finished. Also for this, we have also two different potential use case involving operators and involving different city councils. On the next slide, we can see, for this pilot, you can see the three actors in Golang, and utility, and a town hall, and the deployment of the different components of the data space for each of them. Each of them will have the Dataspace connector, the identity hub, the catalog, and the user interface, and of course the communication between each of them will be done through the Dataspace protocol. And to finalize on this slide, you can see how everything will work. Basically, in Golang, we'll continue to provide the web application, the different processes, the policies, and so on. And for the utility and the town hall, they will start the application of in Golang as always. Okay, they will need to authenticate with the Dataspace identity. Of course, the utility and the town hall, each of them, they will have their own identity, and the data requests and so on will be done through the Dataspace connector. If the access is granted to the application to each of them, they will have access to the data as always. So for the users, the Dataspace's technology layer will be, they will not see any difference unless there are, very complex policies. So in this case, there might be side difference, but in normal cases, for them, it will be completely transparent, and the Dataspace's technology will not be any change in the use of the service for them. And that's all from my side. If you are interested in Bootex, you can access the website, bootex.eu. There, besides detailed information about this, the demo, and so on, you can also have our contacts there. And currently, we are looking for new pilots. So if you are interested in developing a pilot based on Bootex, you can just contact us, and we can discuss this possibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was super interesting. Let's see if we have a few questions. We don't have that much time left. We also have a last part of the session today, but I would really like to take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. In the meantime, I would like to announce that Roy and Jarek will be with us also in September, and they will offer a deep dive on this Bootex case, especially so with this Technalia in Golang scenario. We would like them to provide some updates in September, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, we have a hand raised. Till, please go ahead.
Yeah, a question, maybe also to the talk before. I was wondering how much on the Dataspace protocol, how much this is still, how much there is somehow compatibility to the old versions. Is there a kind of things that still work, don't work against old implementations of the IDS scheme, or is it kind of a really new thing, or just a rebranding of things that were before and a clear specification?
I may jump in, or Roy, you can go ahead first, please.
No, please.
Anil, please.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Till, for the question. I think this referred to the communication protocol, right? The IDS communication protocol that was before?
Yeah,
or...
it's the Dataspace Protocol, all the parts, also the catalog. I mean, there's also brokerage. It used to be the broker pretty much, and so on. So I'm wondering how much of is still working or similar or very similar, or in other hands, kind of total new things that have been introduced over old IDS protocol specifications on all levels, also contract and so on.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I can say this is a brand new one, but of course, as both projects, the older one and the newer one, are targeting the same motivation, so there may be some similarities, but this is a brand new one and with a new structure and new approach, I would say.
So the second question would be quickly, how stable is it? Kind of seeing the history of things breaking, what could we expect kind of on this? Is this now meant to be forever?
It will be an iterative process, but we have a stable version that's ready to be used and that's being used as well. I don't know, maybe Roy or Jarek, you would be responding to that one as you have more hands-on approach.
No, on our side, what we can share is that our technical team implemented the technical part of this protocol. You know, it has been released just some months ago, and it has been already implemented. So, yeah.
Very good. I see that in the meantime, Lars opened his camera. Hi, Lars. It's great to have you in this round.
Great to have you all here and see you. So I think the question was also, if I may, pointing to what Sonia will share with us. So we have experimented a lot in the last years, and now we finally have a stable version of how we see data sharing in data spaces, and that is what we have defined in the Dataspace Protocol. We craft the technical compatibility kit according to it and make it an ISO standard. And the idea of an ISO standard is to be like eternal, as you said. So eternal means so maybe 2 or 3 years. So something. So our core conviction is that we need to serve companies, industry, so in an industry-grade manner, so that you really can build your business processes on it. And with that stable version that we have now and that we bring to the TCK and to the ISO standard, we delivered exactly that. So it's now time to integrate it in your product portfolios, software, components, and services. Yeah, Julia, we are now in the Q&A part, right? So
indeed.
Any more raised hands?
So we are running out of time, but I would like to still take one question. So the faster of you, please. I see a hand raised. Let me check. Danschmann, please. Floor is yours.
Thank you for your presentations and this seminar. I was wondering in the close future, what would be the main need for companies can, for example, manufacturing X would be as important as Gaia X, and is there any preference in these concepts or Catena X, or you know, is it something that would be considered in the data space subjects for the companies?
Well, maybe I can answer that. Maybe a little bit political question. So sorry for well, being very blunt here. So you are mixing up things. I do see Alberto from Gaia X, which is great. So we have some foundational frameworks to make data, to enable the creation of data spaces. So we need well, the data sharing part, which is being provided by IDSA, but we need much more. For example, a thorough trust framework. So that is what Gaia X is doing. And we are doing that for all domains, for all countries, so for all data spaces. while then a lot of data spaces will be built on top of these features and functionalities and components and offerings. Catena-X is a productive data space in the automotive domain, and Manufacturing-X will provide us with a lot of more data spaces in the manufacturing domain. And there are a lot of other domains that already rely on the groundwork by IDSA, by Gaia-X, but also by other organizations. So we have that close collaboration with iShare, and then you can make use of different components and technologies. Some of them are open source, some of them are proprietary software. So maybe you might make use of EDC-based framework or fireware components or a lot of the commercial offerings that are already out there. So we have a stack. So fundamental things like IDSA, Gaia-X, iShare, others here. Then you have frameworks, components that you can make use of in any sector, in any domain. And then you have these data spaces that create business in their sector or even cross-sectoral. So this is, and we are all working very intensely together. And this is a lot of coordination. We are very close with all of these organizations and see that we are working on a common framework, and the Data Spaces Support Center, working on behalf of the European Commission, is probably providing with its blueprint for data spaces a very converged version of that that you can make use of. So maybe a appropriate answer in the short time, and happy to answer more, and you will find in the web a lot more documentation.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the question. I think this was also in the back of the mind of a lot of participants. So we need to clarify how our efforts can work together best. So thanks a lot, Lars, for this great overview. We now have to move to the updates from IDSA and upcoming events. But it was a really good discussion. This is really a core element of our IDSA ecosystem building call. So thanks a lot for everyone. If you have further questions, make sure to post them in the chat or contact us directly. So moving on to the updates and events. I would like to invite on stage Sonia. She will give a very quick overview of certification and provide some outlook to what's coming next. And then we move to the general updates and upcoming events. Sonia.
Thank you, Julia. Will you share or should I?
I can share your slides. I see you added them.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll be brief. So hi, everyone. I'm Sonia Jimenez from the tech team at the IDSA. I'll be brief. I think by now you've heard the word trust and the word connector quite sometimes in these presentations. And this is how both words come together. So one of our pillars is that we want to bring trust to data spaces. The way we have to bring trust to data spaces is by certifying. And what do we certify? We certify the connectors. So connectors, main components to send and receive data. We need to make sure that these components have been developed according to what we've defined, according to the specifications that we at the association have defined, according to the certification criteria that the working group certification has defined. So it's a long list of criteria. So we currently have 156 criteria. And what we do is that we make sure that those connectors meet those criteria. And this is how we how these connectors can become certified. So if you move to the next slide. We're very proud to announce that currently we have 4 certified connectors that went through the process. It's the engineering through connector, the connector from the IH connector from the systems, the TNO connector, there is the PSG connector that is certified, and the BTT connector. So these 4 connectors went through the process. They meet all the criteria that we defined. The evaluation facility, SQS in Spain, conducted the whole process for them. And yeah, so these are the 4 connectors that are certified. And as you've heard already, we have more connectors in the pipeline that will be certified soon. And then next slide. And we are certifying connectors, and in parallel, we are working on the next version of certification, Certification 2.0. And why are we doing this? Is because we need to upgrade and we need to adapt the certification to the latest requirements, latest developments. So we will make sure the new Certification 2.0 is aligned, for instance, to the RAM 5. And what are we adding? So what's new? We will be including criteria to test the Dataspace Protocol. And we will offer the certification in a modular approach. And these are some examples of the modules that we have in mind to implement. So the compliance to the Dataspace Protocol, also to check how the protocol is implemented, authentication authorization, compliance to the trust protocol, and others that we will define. And where are we defining all this? If you move to the next slide. Yeah, so the working group that's in charge of the certification, it's working group certification. So there we define all the criteria, the specifications, how we test them, anything related to certification. We meet once a quarter. The next meeting will be on June 19th. And this group is already working on Certification 2.0. So in the next meeting, we will continue defining, again, what are the market requirements, which modules are we including in Certification 2.0, which ones are mandatory, which ones should be optional. And then having the scope clear, then we need to get our hands dirty and really start defining criteria, defining the test cases, also working with this testing tool. So we will use the TCK to test the Dataspace Protocol. Yeah, but this working group will be defining the complete certification scheme for Certification 2.0. So yeah, this is for members. So I encourage all the members that want to be part of this to join this meeting. That'd be it from my side. Back to you, Julia. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Sonia. Jumping to the general updates. We're running a bit out of time. I will make a summary in these last 3 minutes. IDSA and friends participated to several events related to data spaces and data sharing. We prepared a summary here. Our colleague Antoine was at the IONA X European Data Summit in Paris, while Sonia and Silvia participated to the Cybersecurity Congress in Barcelona, and they showcased the IDSA testbed. We also were really well represented in Italy, in Bolzano, for the Open Data Hub Day. Several friends of ours, several members of IDSA participated. You see them here. There was really a very good event where data spaces were at the very center. Moving on to what's coming next. We prepared here a few slides with all the appointments that you should keep an eye on. First of all, I would like to point your attention to the next touch point of this open month session. That will be next Monday. That's the final appointment. So for those of you that would like to stick around and stay with us also afterwards, please make sure to check out how to become a member of IDSA. We've already planned a very good agenda for, I think, Carlos, till July. We have everything planned. So cool topics are already planned for the next weeks. For next Monday, we would like to conclude our overall journey in this open month with this topic here. So from theory to practice, how IDSA assets are implemented. So you probably know we started with an overall view of what is the IDS approach. In the first touchpoint, we had Microsoft presenting why they joined IDSA, what they're up to. In the second touchpoint, we focused on the reference architecture model and the rulebook as assets to ensure this reference and governance of data spaces. And we had a very good experience, very good presentation from the By Data initiative in Spain. as well as a new manufacturing case, TRIMET case. If you would like to check out those past sessions, because you maybe missed them, and they're online, and you can access them also via the minutes that we will send out, as well as the IDSA website. So for next Monday, this will be the focus. We want to wrap it around a bit. We want to show how global IDSA is. We will provide insights on the hubs, competence centers, and in general, the efforts that are happening at global level. For that, we will also mention the standardization activities, pointing them to dedicated touch points to investigate that. And last but not least, we are having a great guest from Japan. Entity will explain what they're up to and their testing between Japan and Europe. We will share the slides where you can also find the summary, the overview of all the different touch points. I would like to highlight two of them. Today we are celebrating in Belgium. The Dataspace Day is happening there. And next week, there will be the launch of the new competence center in Portugal. So we're very happy for that. In case you are in these two locations, make sure to join them. If you are not in those locations, you see that there are also other touch points where you can meet some friends of IDSA. Moving on to online sessions, please keep in mind these 3 sessions here. 2 are the perfect chance to investigate deeper the topic of interoperability. You see here we have 2 webinars that our tech team is offering on the Prometheus X connector and the Dataspace Protocol, and another session on semantic interoperability. If you would like to be a bit onboarded on the general topic of data spaces, if you would like to discuss with us and ask us questions directly, the perfect touch point is the Q&A session. So make sure to register for June 4th. Good. Last point from my side. It was a lot of fun to be with you in this open month session. Looking forward to having you next Monday. And also, I would like to remind all of you, if you would like to support the association, we have different ways that you can do that. We would be really happy to welcome you as IDSA member. So please check out some more information and reach out to us if you would like to discuss what's the best for you. Thanks a lot again.
Thank you.
I wish you all a very good day and see you next Monday.
Thank you.